All right, everybody. Well, the Avalanche and the Lightning might be off for the day, but that doesn't mean exciting things can't happen. And for us in the Avalanche land, it was award show day. And this guy behind me here, over this way, came out with an award. Two of them, actually. Color me shocked. I have to say that I honestly was shocked that Cale Makar took the Norris, but we're going to talk about that. And he also got another award. And then finally, Joe Sakic gets his due. Just a little bit, at least in a nomination. A lot to get to. And we're also going to get to grades as well from game 3 and maybe looking a little bit forward to game 4. So Kyle and I got a lot to get to today. So why wait? Let's do this.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cale Makar is your Norris Trophy winner. I gotta say, I was a little bit surprised, pleasantly, of course. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli, following the Avs since '95, since our teenage years, my friend. Follow the show on social media, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. All right, man. Yeah, the Avalanche, the day off in between games, I should say, for game 3 and game 4 for the Stanley Cup final. So the awards were given out in the NHL, and they went back to the live presentation. Very small. It was almost like backstage at like the NFL draft, where it's just like those small tables all over the place. Very, very small venue. But so what? At least you got this thing back in person. We were, of course, just looking forward to the Norris. And we've been talking about the Norris for a while. And just the gut feeling that I had was this was Roman Josi's. I think everybody was hung up on the points that he scored, which were great. You can't deny that he had a good season. But I think for a lot of people around the league who were kind of like paying attention to more than that, like, okay, this is a defensive award. We kind of have to incorporate some sort of defense in our vote. And I think that's what won the day for Cale Makar. And in the end, he wins it. I gotta say, I was sitting there watching it with my wife, and she was just reading a book, and we were gonna watch like a show, and I'm like, I just want to see this award, and then we can shut it off. And I kind of like jump scared her. I'm like, oh my God. She's like, what? I'm like, he won. She didn't follow it. Like, she knows who Cale Makar is, obviously, but she didn't know the whole story of what happened during the regular season. And she's like, was he not supposed to win? She's like, I thought he was the best. I'm like, well, he is the best. Just in the eyes of the rest of the league, I thought they were going to go in another direction. I'm glad they didn't. I think this is the first of many for Cale Makar.
Yeah, I was watching the NHL awards with my daughter. Like, this was her first NHL awards. I was trying to hype it up as a big event, but as an Avs fan, I was telling her the Avs don't win awards, so you'll see them, but they're not going to go home with an award. So she got to watch the NHL awards broadcasting live from an Olive Garden, and I was right there with you. I was sitting there, and I was telling my daughter, I was like, "Look, there's Cale Makar," and we're like cheering and all that, and I was like, "Here comes Roman Josi." And when they call Cale Makar, I jump and I scream and I'm like fist bumping in the air.
Yeah.
She's like, what happened? I was like, we actually won. And then she starts celebrating. So it was a big moment. It was great, but it was so unexpected. It's a great, finally he's getting the due he deserves. Like, this is big. And I don't think he was even prepared with the speech, but it was great for him.
And it was the Calgary Flames assistant GM, Chris Snow, who and that right there, like, I saw like that his whole family came out, and that was just
that got me.
And for a moment I was like it doesn't even matter at this point who went, that's kind of like, what matters. This guy's being with his family for who knows how long.
Yeah.
So I think that just adds something to it, at least for Cale Makar, that he can always look back and say, like, Chris knows the one that like gave me this award, who announced that I won this with my first.
They gave him a long standing ovation too,
which deservedly so. Man,
it was very nice.
That was touching. Very, very touching. So as far as the voting goes for the Norris, very, very close. And we didn't think this was going to be a runaway. You knew it was going to be, the final three was Makar, Josi, and Hedman. And you had the talk was back and forth between Makar and Josi, and it was so close. Overall points 1631 for Makar, 1606 for Roman Josi. Josi actually had more first place votes, 98 to 92, but out of 195 votes that go in, Cale Makar had first or second place votes in 190 of them. Cale Makar did not have any fourth or fifth place votes. All his votes were either first, second, or third, and third he only had 5. For Roman Josi, he had the 98 first, 76 second, 17 third, and 3 fourth. So there were voters out there who put Roman Josi fourth. There were no voters out there. What's up?
That's what they were very smart.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with Josi being second. I am.
But second or third, that's about where you should land.
So there were 3 voters who put Josi fourth. There were none who put Cale Makar fourth. And in the end, that's won it for him. Also, not to be missed, Devon Toews finished 8th in Norris voting. 8th. He had no first, no second. He had 1 third, 5 fourth, and 18 fifth for 38 points. And he wasn't really close to the person ahead of him in 7th, who was Chris Letang, who had 73 points to Toews 38. But like I said on Twitter, if that doesn't solidify this team or this duo being the best defensive unit in the league, nothing will. To have the Norris Trophy winner and then his mate at 8. What else can you say about these two? Nothing.
Yeah, fantastic. And he, like Taser, he often gets kind of lost in the shuffle when you're talking about that top line, but he has been so clutch all year. Like game 3 wasn't his greatest. I know it's rough to talk about after game 3, but like he's been so clutch. And I think him being back there, it's like a Batman and Robin on the blue line. Like he really helps out Cale Makar.
Definitely. Interesting enough in the Hart Trophy. We'll talk about this for a second. Makar did finish 8th in the Hart. He had 48 points. And the only thing he didn't get was a first place vote. He did get a second place vote. A few third, more fourth, even more fifth. So he had 48 points. And again, well behind the person who's in front of him. In 7th was Kirill Kaprizov, who had 126 to Cale Makar's 48. But what's telling for me on the Hart Trophy, is Roman Josi finished 6th with 241 points. And again, Cale Makar had 48 points.
Yeah.
And I had said many times, I think Roman Josi should finish higher in the Hart voting than Cale Makar should. Than Cale Makar. And Cale Makar should be winning the Norris. And I think that's what voters did here. Voters looked at Josi and said, he's had a great year. We're going to vote. We're going to lean more heavily on voting for him for the Hart, but not for the award that awards defense. And that's exactly what happened in the voting. So I think the voters did a good job here, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially like the Hart is the definition of the most valuable player. And if you're looking for the most valuable player on Nashville, is Roman Josi, 1,000%. It's a alternating list of names if you're listing off the Hart for the Colorado Avalanche. So of course Cale would finish behind that, but I completely agree with you. It's good that you see the voting lining up with the actual designation for the awards.
Yep. And finally, Cale Makar also did get voted to the first All-Star team of the NHL. So congratulations for that. And then they announced the 3 finalists for GM of the year, and they didn't. It wasn't an award that they handed out. I don't know why they're doing it that way this year.
Joe Sakic was there. Come on, NHL.
Yeah. So, but the funny thing is, man, like when they said that they were going to announce the 3 finalists at this award show, and he was the third one that they announced. And I'm sitting there watching this like, you have to be kidding me. It was Brisebois from Tampa. It was Chris Drury from New York. And I'm like, I know Sakic is there because I saw him sitting next to Cale Makar. And then they finally said Joe Sakic. And that is long overdue.
Yep.
If he didn't get nominated for that this year, there was going to be riots in the streets.
We were going to be one of them.
Oh my God. It would have made no sense. What else would you need this man to do? At least to get nominated.
Yeah.
I feel like he definitely should win it, but I will take a nomination at any point in the game for Joe Sakic for that.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I had my daughter watching the NHL awards. I told her if Joe Sakic wasn't nominated, we were going to go up and down the street with like a water gun, and we were just gonna riot. She thought that was fun, but yeah,
shoot at cars, like drive-by shootings.
Yeah, we were going to create a menace.
So before we hear from Rock Auto, we're gonna do a quick sound check, and this is like NHL awards, specifically Cale Makar edition. That's going to go on the LOP and Soundcheck playlist over on Spotify. We normally do this after songs, and every once in a while when something special happens, we'll add to it. And this is one of those times. So we're going to do a couple songs right now in honor of the NHL awards that went to Cale Makar. Go ahead.
In the long list of Hall of Famers for the Avalanche, Cale Makar has the designation of being the first Norris Trophy winner. So my song from a band called The Velvet Teen.
Okay.
You Were the First.
And I'll just piggyback right off of that. Mine is from the Cold War Kids, and their song is called First. I think you have to kind of go with that theme for this. Yeah, first in history of the entire franchise, not just the Colorado Avalanche franchise.
It's mind-boggling to think about. Like, you're getting the first of any award in 2022 for the Avalanche, especially with all the names we talk about all the time. Right. It's kind of interesting.
Yep. So well-deserved. Congratulations to Cale Makar, and congratulations to Joe Sakic. And obviously Cale took his home. Let's see if Joe can take GM of the year home. And then obviously let's hope we can get the grand prize in the Stanley Cup. Imagine if that happens. What a year for the Avalanche, specifically Cale Makar. If you win best defenseman, NHL first All-Star team, you get the Stanley Cup, maybe the Conn Smythe. I don't know if he's on the outside looking in right now, depending on how he plays in the last few games. If all that stuff happens, I mean, we're looking at a historic year for this dude.
We should have got the President's Trophy.
And that. And that. All right, let's hear from Rock Auto, and then we'll get to some grades. We haven't done grades in a little while. We have the, like we said, the day off. And Denker didn't want to join us. I don't know why he didn't want to join us. I mean, his team won.
You scared, bro?
I don't know what he's so afraid of. Maybe his boss just scheduled him. Maybe that's just what it boils down to.
That's what we all said.
All right. But Rock Auto, with the ever-increasing number of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain and auto parts store to stock all the parts that you need. So why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand that their warehouse happens to carry? Well, you have a computer with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. It's a family-run business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. The prices are reliably low for every customer, so go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck right locked on in the How Did You Hear About Us section, so they know that we sent you to them. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. So grades for game 3, the first Avalanche loss in these Stanley Cup final. I think this will be an interesting one. And the way we did it last time is Kyle kind of just went through and he grouped everybody by grade. And I picked out a couple that I either agreed or disagreed with. So I will leave this up to Kyle to kind of throw out who he had for each specific grade, and then we'll just discuss it. And I like doing this not only for us to talk about it, but for the people in the comments section to do the same. So, last time we did this, people had some disagreements and had some agreements, and I'm sure that will happen this time. So
No.
not at all. So last time we started on the low end, and we'll do that. Well, or should we start on the high end because we can get that out of the way now?
I can tell you,
Yeah.
the low end is not an F.
Okay.
The high end is not an A.
So we're all in between, basically.
We're all in between.
So there's no A's, right? Nobody got an A
None.
from you,
No.
and nobody got a yeah.
There's a single B+, and then
Okay.
it goes from there.
All right, and there's no singular F.
Nope.
Okay, so why don't we start at D? List off any D's, and then we'll go from there.
D, you can't spell Darcy without D. Darcy Kuemper with a D.
Okay.
There, Darcy Kuemper. I also have JJ, EJ.
Okay.
I have Taser listed under a D.
It wasn't his best game.
It was not a good game from him at all. I also have Abe Kubel with a D.
Yeah, it was not his best game either. And that's everybody?
Yeah, I have Darcy Kuemper, JJ, EJ, Taser, and Abe Kubel.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with most of that. And the one that sticks out for you, obviously, is Toews, because he's so much better than that. We just sang his praises coming in 8th for the Norris. And then, we're talking about that following not the best game for him. Yeah. And that one, pass that he kind of semi-whiffed on that went the other way for a Tampa goal. That was kind of early in the game. And I don't know if that just got into his head. And then you had to play at the end with Kucherov. Even though I came back out and said, I mistaken that play. I reversed my thinking on that play. I don't think Kucherov lost his footing. I think Toews checked him. I don't feel like he was intending to hurt him, but he's involved in it. He's involved in that play, and that's there's some kind of controversy going around that. They said there was not going to be any supplemental discipline for him on it, which I don't think there should be. But it was just not his best game. And the other one that obviously sticks out there is Darcy Kuemper. Yeah, I just don't think it was his best game. And I was talking with people online, and I'm not sitting here saying like it's all his fault. There's moments where defensive lapses and defensive mistakes had Tampa just sitting pretty right in front of him. And those are sometimes difficult saves to make.
Yep.
But you just want him to save one of those every once in a while and bail out his defense. And that builds confidence for him. That builds confidence for his team. And he just didn't have it. He didn't have it. And I will say this. I thought about it because I was on the fence. And I'd go back with Kuemper in game 4. I would go back with Kuemper one more time. You got to throw him back out there. He's really got you here, not in the playoffs, so to speak. He hasn't had the best playoffs. I get that. But there were times we were talking about him as a Vezina finalist or close to it. Not that he was going to win it, but he was having a very, very good season in the second half of the year. It hasn't been there, but I think you have to continue to show faith in him right now, at least for one more game. Because you are up 2-1, I'm okay with you putting him back out there, but I will say it's a short leash. You took him out after 5 goals. I would say depending on if he gives up 3 in a certain amount of time, I think he's out.
Can I give you a little counterpoint on that?
Definitely.
I know the philosophy of he got you here, like he's been our number 1.
Yep.
But have you seen the performance of playoff JT Compher, playoff Cogliano?
Yep.
Like they're completely different animals. And playoff Darcy Kuemper is a completely different animal.
I agree with that.
Like I'm not taking anything away from everything Darcy Kuemper has done this year, and it's been amazing. And serious stick taps to you, bud. If you're not landing a job here in Colorado, you're getting another job because of your performance this season. When it comes to the playoffs, like we were talking about leaving JT Compher and Cogliano off the playoff roster because of the regular season performance, and they have been crucial and vital in the playoffs so far. When it comes to numbers and performance and how the team plays, I just don't see why you would give Darcy another chance in Tampa. If the old saying, a series doesn't start until you win one on the road. Pavel Francouz right now gives you the best opportunity to do that. Like, this is not a earn your spot kind of thing. We're here to win games because this is the end of the road. No matter what you do, win or lose, you're not earning a contract or a job or a here you go, bud. We're here to win games, and Frankie gives you the best chance to do that right now.
I think Frankie gives you a good chance. Maybe does he give you the best chance right now? Yeah, I think that's up for debate, and I would be totally understanding of people say that he does. But you threw out JT Compher. He didn't have the best start to the playoffs. In that Nashville series, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he had a single point. I could be wrong there. If somebody wants to effort and check that.
Yeah.
But he didn't really start picking it up until kind of late in the St. Louis series that carried over into the Edmonton series. But anyway, I say that just to say this, like, yeah, even in the playoffs, guys can have ups and downs. Kuemper's had, I'd say, more downs than ups. And I know maybe I'm like you're saying like, why the heck are you going to go with this guy if you're not really saying that he's having like the best postseason? It's just how kind of I am. I just feel like you give guys opportunity, and with the opportunity right now with the Avs is they are up 2-1, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a short leash. I'm not leaving him out there on an island, and because you're up 2-1, that's why I put him back out there. If the Avs were down 1-2, that means clearly like he's losing games. Then I probably wouldn't put him out there right now. But he had a shutout, 16 saves. I get that. You won game 1, which was in overtime. So it's not like he is the sole reason why they lost that game. And he's played all 3 of these games and they're up 2-1. So I just feel like because he's been your horse for most of this. Look what Edmonton did with Mike Smith. Right? Like that's while he is a inferior goalie to what the Avalanche can do on offense, they kept putting him out there because that's who they rode all season. And you try to work through it. And I know it's a shorter schedule when come playoff time, but this will be it for me. Like this right here is the Darcy Kuemper test. If he gets through this one with a win, maybe he gets some confidence back and you push it as far as it can go. If it gets off the rails early, he's out and Francouz comes in. And this is not a knock on Francouz. I'm not putting Kuemper out there to knock Francouz. It's just my thinking of like, this is the guy you pay to get you where you are kind of. So I go with him, but I completely understand the Frankie people. Completely understand it.
And to your JT Compher point, he scored 2 assists in the final game of the Nashville series, and then that's where the scoring began. So okay, first 3, goose eggs.
First 3 and everything. Okay, all right. Let's move up to the C's. C's to get degrees.
The lowest ranked C, I have 1 C-, and that would be Arturi Lehkonen.
Okay.
He was on the verge of that D, almost bad, but there was nothing out of Lehkonen. Like, it was a lot of nothing out of Lehkonen, and I was very disappointed. I'm like, finished the night as a -3.
Yeah,
it was not a good effort from Lehkonen, and he went ghost mode, and he was on some bad beats. So, a C- for Lehkonen.
Okay.
The C group. It's long and lengthy.
All right.
You have Manson with a flat C. He had some bad moments, but he also had some good moments. So I give Manson a C. I give Helm a C. Jesse's brother a C. Nathan MacKinnon.
Ooh. A C?
A C.
Okay, keep going.
LOC is a C. Cogliano was teetering on. I was sitting on C, C-, and D, just because of the stupidity of that fight and throwing punches right after we get you back. That really bothered me. Like, you don't do that. We've been waiting on you to come back, and that's what you do. But he got a C, and to finish it out would be Newhook.
Okay. Newhook is a C. All right. I don't think Nathan MacKinnon is a C to me. I think Nathan MacKinnon played very well. Like it looks bad. Was he? I think he was a -3 as well too, right?
Yep.
He was a -3. No,
he was
-2.
2.
He was -2. But nothing on the stat sheet. No goals. No, he hasn't scored a goal in this final yet.
Yeah, and we've
But
excused it to this point, and that's where I'm like, see,
I wouldn't really say excuse because like he's getting his shots, man. Like the effort level is at a high for him. He's not invisible. I mean, like you don't want to see that. Like Nathan MacKinnon is out there. He's hustling his butt off, which you would expect. He just hasn't been able to crack the net. But it's not for a lack of trying. And there were very rare occasions where, yeah, like Nathan MacKinnon was just invisible. It's not this series. And I'm not saying I would just shoot him up to an A. I agree with you that nobody really deserves an A for this one.
no,
But I would probably put him towards the higher end of grading for this game, and probably put him at a solid B. And that's just for the effort, and he was giving it his all, and you could see that.
that's interesting. And I'd like to see a little bit more because the rest of his line mates are in the next category.
Okay.
Of your Bs. You have Bo Byram with a B, Cale Makar with a B. These are flat Bs.
Okay.
Bo Byram, Cale Makar. I do have 2 B minuses, and that's Nuke and Mikko Rantanen. Both of them.
Okay.
And I have one more. The B plus is Landeskog.
Yeah.
Because he took the whole team, put him on his back dough, and went on there and scored. Like he would not accept defeat.
Yeah.
In the early portion of that game. And the last B, flat B,
yeah,
would be Frankie.
You freaking love this guy.
Well, man. No, the one goal he let up was on a power play. Everything else,
yeah.
Like,
no, I mean he came in and he he let up the one, and that was it. So I mean, I guess
he gave the Avalanche every chance they could to get back in that game, which is what you want in that position.
Right. I agree with Landeskog, and I would even put Nuke up and you did, and he's at a B. He's been playing great.
Yeah.
And it just sucks that that goal got taken away from him.
Yeah.
Because I just would if he would have had that and the Avs going to win this thing, like I think right now he would be the Avalanche front runner for the Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
I would say. Byram just he's impressing me every single game.
Yeah.
There's a couple times where he just seems like the moment is getting to him, and he's a little bit skittish with the puck on his stick. So he won't make like an errant pass to a player, but he'll kind of just dump it in and just fling it around the boards just to keep it in the zone, which is a good thing. It's not a bad play. It's just I wish you could have like maybe kept the puck on your stick. Maybe try to get by a defender instead of just like giving the puck up. But that's kind of just like nitpicking. It's nothing where he's like turning the puck over. It's just, and when he does that, I just feel like he's just being a little bit too quick to get rid of the puck because he doesn't want to make a mistake. Which again, I can be okay with because he's not forcing himself into that. It's almost like he can see the mistake coming.
Yeah.
So he just gets rid of the puck, so he's not to blame for anything.
And like I see the exact same thing you do with like his little bit of hesitation, but the thing that like it kind of excites me for next season because he's learning this in the Stanley Cup. Like how dangerous is this guy about to be next year?
Oh my God, I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah,
have an off season of just getting just another year comfortable with the team, the camaraderie with the team, getting, going into like training camp, knowing you're one of the guys, not, even though he really was that this year, but next year it's like solidified that he is. Yeah. You really look forward to stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Quickly, I guess, what do we think for tonight, man? I mean, what do the Avs have to do? Do they really need to, whenever you have a team that like loses, especially in the playoffs, everybody looks to adjustments. What do you think the Avalanche need to do to kind of swing this thing back in their favor and go back to Denver with a 3-1 lead, which is what everybody wants?
I'm calling on the poster boys. I'm calling on Nathan MacKinnon. Like Gabe's already stepped up. Mikko, Cale, like giving me wonderful sound bites are one thing. Go out there and claim this win. Like
Yeah.
it's go time.
Yeah, I think for the Avs, what worked for you in game 1 and 2 clearly was the speed,
Mhm.
and the Lightning did a good job of taking that away. So I'm really, I thought we'd have Nazem Kadri and Burakovsky back for this game. I
Yep.
don't know so much right now. I
Yeah.
got just the vibe I'm getting is maybe Kadri. And unlikely for Burakovsky because from what I hear, Burakovsky's still in Denver. He could fly over there in the morning and be ready for the game. But I don't know. It's just one of those gut feelings that I don't like what I'm hearing out of Burakovsky, at least for game 4. And I think there's a chance Kadri plays in game 4. But I also don't think it's just going to be forced. I don't think it's good because because the Avs are up 2-1. I think they would if he's kind of iffy, I would say, all right, sit this game out. If we lose it, then fine, we go back 2-2, and then you're going to play then in front of the home crowd and watch Ball Arena explode.
I have a feeling if we won game 3, Nas would be a lock for game 4. Now that this series is going back to Ball Arena, it's going to be game 4 is a possibility. When we get back to Ball Arena, it's going to be a game time decision for Nas. Like, hey, are you good?
Hmm.
And I like if this was the possibility of a sweep, he'd be in game 4 for that series clinching game. I
Yeah, if they won game 3, I don't know. I think they would have just kept them out longer. Just be like, hey, we're up 3-0 in this series.
He wants to
You know what I
be
mean?
in that moment with that team. He
When they
would be on
that,
for a little bit.
you're right. I mean, that's another thing where he might force the issue and be like, if we're
Yep.
going for a sweep, I'm going to be out there.
Yep.
Obviously, that's not the case right now. So now it's handled a little bit
He
differently.
would play like 6 minutes, like
Oh, you
just
think
a
it'd
couple.
be
Yeah, like a couple shifts, just enough to get out there and like help out enough to justify being out there, like McDermott minutes, honestly, in the cup. And
yeah.
because honestly,
That's a
if
little
you're up three
dangerous, though.
nothing,
It's a little dangerous when you're playing Tampa, you know what I mean?
if you're up 3-0 on Tampa, you've got momentum. Like you're just ready to close the door on them, and that would be what
Yeah.
that is.
But for the Avs, like I said, I think they have to get back to the speed. I think you have to try to force Tampa into committing penalties because they are
Yeah,
struggling to stop you when you are on the power play. Make them, overcommit and have some stupid penalties, which they've shown that they can do from time to time. Um, and just you have to figure out a way to get back to what was working for game 1 and 2 because I don't want to say it fully didn't work for game 3 because you just had so many mistakes.
yep.
That's the thing. I don't think you need to overhaul this thing. Eliminate those stupid like mental lapses. Continue to play your game, and I think you'll be just fine. You'll be more in this game than you were because of those mental lapses. It's
Yeah,
not
all they
it's
have
not a
to
massive overhaul.
just tighten it up. That's all you have to do. Just tighten it up.
Mm.
That's literally it.
We'll see. Kyle and I will be back tomorrow to talk about game 4 and how it went. Hopefully, it's in the win column for the Avs and they can head back to Denver and wrap that thing up. That would be just poetic.
Mm.
But once again, congratulations to Mr. Cale Makar and Joe Sakic. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Follow us on all our social media platforms and join the Twitter space, which Kyle hosts each and every game over on Twitter. So that's going to wrap it up for us, everybody. Thank you for making this your first listen today once again. And we will be back tomorrow to break down game 4. See you guys tomorrow.